Hello, everybody, and welcome to BC Buckets. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me is Colin Mitchell. And today, Colin, we have a scouting report of Khaman Maluach, Duke center, 7'1", barefoot, 18.8 years old. This dude is the hardest scout I have for this year so far. And I think it's fair to say you could tell me he's going to be incredible, and honestly, I wouldn't even fight back. You could tell me he's going to be a bust, and honestly, I'd be like, all right, cool. Like the range of outcomes for Common Maluach to me is endless. So where do you fall on the spectrum?
I'm pretty high on him.
Okay.
I think overall, I think I will say it is really hard to grade a player that has two other players that are probably going to go before him in the draft. So it makes it tough because obviously the usage is not there at all. I mean, what was his usage percentage?
16 off the top of my head.
16 averaged. I should have had my points over here.
That's right. I got 8.6 points, 6.6 rebounds, 0.5 assists, 0.8.
So when you look at the stats, he's not jumping out at you. But when you watch him kind of as a defender or an anchor big, you kind of go, okay, I can see it. And so me watching him, it reminded me a lot of like Mark Williams and Jalen Duren coming out of college. Not as athletic as Duren, but just in terms of that type of archetype where he's a true center that he's not gonna be like a Walker Kessler or Donovan Clingan where he's defender only and that's it. But he's also not this guy that I don't like. I think he kind of has like an offensive game that could maybe develop into something. So it is tough though to kind of project where he could be, but I'm pretty high on him.
Yeah, Maluach is interesting. Let's start offensively because you watch the games and Cooper Flag and Con Knipple and Tyrese Proctor as well, who's going to be drafted at some point. Like, just feed him dunks, just feed him lobs, and
all the time.
And credit to him, he's 7'2" with 9'6" standing reach, and it's absolutely incredible. He can go get anything. He's not the highest vertical leaper, but who cares? He's 7'2". So he just goes and gets everything and dunks it. 71.2% from the field this past year. So we know he's a rim runner. We know he can do that aspect of it. The question mark is, where are you at with him as a shooter? Because he didn't do a ton of it at Duke, but he shot 76.6% from the free throw line. And I went back and watched some of the South Sudan tape back when they were in the Olympics and when they were qualifying in the Olympics and stuff like that. And just, when he played there, the shot doesn't look bad. And you watch him in warm-ups or in workouts, the shot doesn't look bad.
Yeah.
And if he can shoot the ball, Colin, I don't know. Like the ceiling is really high at that point.
Well, I don't know if the ceiling's really, really high. I don't think he's gonna be doing some Dirk fades out here or anything like that. But I definitely think that he could come off and kind of pick and pop a little bit in the mid range over time, or possibly take that corner three
at all.
Yeah, even at even if it's like 35% or something like that, just to add it to his game to where he can come off of that.
Yeah, again, the athleticism is good enough, like for what he is. Like he's never gonna be really super switchable, but I actually think he does a decent job of moving his feet defensively.
I agree.
And then offensive rebounding wise, he was 9th in the country on offensive rebounding. Really, always hangs around the rim, looks for putbacks. Again, Flag, Knipple, Proctor draw attention, so a lot of times they were uncontested putbacks, but he is just so freaking tall, that he can go get stuff. I will say, I think I'm going to end up being lower on him than you. And a lot of it there's still just too much projection here. I know I just got done talking about the shooting, but
see, I don't think there's much projection in terms of what he can do now. Like, we know he can defend. Opponents shot 53% at the rim against him. That's not a good number for them. Offensive rebounding, you mentioned, obviously. You just mentioned Cooper Flag and having the Duke team around him, but it was 16.5 offensive rebounding percentage. That's really good. Defensive rebounding, there's some things that maybe you'd like better. But like I think right now he comes in and he can be a big that can rebound for you, he can defend for you, and he can be a lob threat for you. And he had one of the highest offensive ratings ever since it's been recorded at 143.1. Obviously, it's because of the lobs, and he didn't play a lot of minutes at 21 minutes. But like 84% field goal percentage on the half court, 77.6 at the rim, 89% out of the pick and roll. Like, he's a finisher. He's a finisher that can run pick and roll, catch lobs, and boom, there you go. So I think that's a role that he can fill for some teams right now.
I think it's kind of being overlooked how non-physical he is right now. Like, the defensive rebounding is already one thing. He had a 19.1 defensive rebound percentage, which ranked 280th in the country. Like, he was displaced a lot of times. Like, people would just put their butt into him and he would go like 5 feet back or not get a rebound, or he just couldn't get the ball. Like, at the sight of any physicality, he struggled to go get it. You go and watch the Duke versus Houston game, which, again, Houston is one of the most physical teams in the country every year.
That was a tough game for him.
You can call it what it is. You can say it's an aberration, whatever. 0 rebounds in that game, and honestly, Juwan Roberts just pushed him around. Now, Juwan Roberts is 5 years older than him. I understand that, but he's also going to the NBA here, where everyone's going to be 5 years older than him. So, and Juwan Roberts is not a great athlete. Juwan Roberts is 6'8", just a strong dude. Like, you're going to be playing grown men here. I think he actually needs a little bit more time than what most people give him credit for. I don't think he comes in, and the first 2 years, I don't think he's able to really. I'm not gonna say he can't play, but like, he's not gonna be a starter in his first 2 years, I don't think. And that's why a lot of the mocks that you see is like, oh, maybe Toronto takes him at whatever pick they have, 8, 9, to back up Jakob Poeltl for a year, and then he would fill in for him later. I just think he needs like a real year of development, a year of strength, a year where you maybe work on the shot a little bit more, like you add to his game, because even in the post defensively, I have real concerns, like, of guys that are smaller than him beating him off the dribble with quickness or strength. There's too many. Again, like how I started this podcast, the range of outcomes is so wide. Maybe he is the Dikembe Mutombo, and I don't see it yet.
I don't think anyone's saying that.
Like, I'm saying, like, if he could get there at one day. Like,
he does like to swat.
He started playing basketball 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, what do I know of what he's going to be in 5 years when he's 24 years old as opposed to 19? Like, it's just, it's hard for me to really put into perspective for a guy with such low usage to really come around and be like, all right, in 2 years, I think he's going to be a fine basketball player. I think he's going to be a fine starter in the NBA in like 2, 3, 4 years. But at this moment, I can't use a top 8 pick on him at this moment.
I don't think top 8 is where
a lot of people have him top 8 in their boards and in their mock drafts.
I'd have to think about that a little bit more. But I mean, I'm not low.
So
here's the thing. I last year said Yves Missy was going to be terrible. No one should take him.
We were lower on him, yeah.
But I was like real low on him. Like, because just how raw he was and how ready I did not think he could be. Now, obviously, he doesn't have the conditioning, or he didn't have the conditioning questions that Maluach has. But with that being said, like you already mentioned, he's only been playing basketball 5 years. He's not going to be 19 when he's drafted. He's going to be 18 and 3/4, basically. And I just see a lot of things there that once an NBA team gets his hands on him, he's going to be able to fill a role. Now, I don't know what that role is, but I think his floor is, in my eyes, his floor is fairly high as just an anchor big. Where he can go on top of that, if it's just going to be, like, is he going to be able to, and this is a big question too, only a 4.3% assist percentage, is he going to be able to effectively facilitate the ball at all to where he can expand that game? Because let me tell you, you can talk about a shot all you want, but if he's not able to have the ball in his hands and be able to read, you're never really going to get a chance to see that shot outside of lob threats or coming out of the pick and roll. So it is interesting, though, because he does have a lot of question marks. And last year as well, I got on Donovan Clingan for not being conditioned. He only played Sorry.
Klingen's the opposite of Maluach. Klingen is on the opposite end of, like, I feel like Klingen, we knew exactly what he was,
Well,
and
that's
we were
part of
we
that's
were
also because
lower
he's
on him,
older.
but,
Yeah.
like, yeah, Klingen was a couple years older, but, like, Klingen we knew was like, "Alright, we'll block shots, process the game quickly, and, like, immediately step on the court and play a role for the Trailblazers," which he did. Maluach, I don't know. Like, the processing is not there yet because it's still relatively new, and I might have actually been overshooting with 5 years. It might be actually less than that, but I think I saw 5 years. Someone correct me if I'm incorrect, but, uh, that's kind of like the processing is not there, like, the rebounding's not quite there, the physicality is not quite there. I'm going to end up lower on Maluach than 90% of people, and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. Where are you at with comps?
I mean, I kind of mentioned one. Mark Williams
Yeah.
is one. I think that I was gonna put Mark Williams and Jalen Duren because he came out of the same class. I picked the one that it kind of resembles a little bit more. I have Rudy Gobert as like the super high end
Yeah.
if that ends up coming out, just because I do think Maluach offers a little bit in the pick and roll defense, similar to what Gobert does. Obviously, I don't think he can step out at the 3-point line, but I do think he can switch a little bit. So those would be my two comps. I think Mark Williams is kind of like a most likely scenario, I guess, and Rudy Gobert would be like the all
Yeah.
world. You hit the potential.
He also didn't block shots at the level where he needed to block shots. Like, he blocked shots, but
Yeah,
it was
he
like
blocked,
he was good. He wasn't, like, great.
but I think a lot of that had to do with timing. Like a lot of it to me was like,
Okay.
yeah, it was just timing. It was like trying to do it when he shouldn't, not doing it when he should. The same thing goes with the post defense. I didn't feel like he was necessarily over out physical, I guess, in the post. Now there was definitely times when he was, but I think it was more so guys who were crafty, who kind of knew like, oh, okay, if I show this way, I have a layup, I have a lay-in.
Yeah.
And I think that's mostly just learning. Like he's going to be able to learn those things because he hasn't had a lot of experience in those situations.
So, don't like my comp, but I'm gonna use it
Okay.
anyways here. Um, I have Mo Bamba written
Mo
down.
Bamba. Wow.
Now, Mo Bamba, is if Maluach develops a three-point shot a little bit, because Bamba can shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Bamba, I say can shoot, like, he's not, like, an elite shooter, but he
Right.
can shoot the ball. Like, he's shooting I think I saw he's shooting, like, 4 threes a game right now in the NBA, like, for, the past few years. So, like, again, the offensive side of things, like, Bamba's 7 feet tall, shooting threes, like, that level. I actually looked up Bol briefly, just to, like, see, where we were at with
No
that.
way you were gonna say
Um,
Bol Bol as a
but that's
comp.
not what I was gonna say there. But the reason why I actually don't love Bamba because Bamba led the country in blocks in college,
Mm-hmm.
3.7 blocks per game. Maluach is at 1.3. And now I will say the minutes difference is like huge. Bamba played 30 minutes per game, whereas Maluach played 21. And then Bamba got 10.5 rebounds per game, and that's a substantial number. So to Maluach's 6.6. So I don't love the comp because I actually think Bamba, from like a shot blocking and rebounding and like shooting perspective, was actually farther along than Maluach was.
Mm-hmm.
But Maluach is 3 inches taller or 2 inches taller. And I think Maluach is actually a better rim runner than what Bamba was at this point. So I see it both ways. Bamba was the 6th pick in that draft of 2018. I fear that somebody's going to do the same with Maluach. I won't be applauding them when they take it. I'll applaud Khaman, but I don't think I'm not going to say it's a great pick if he goes in the top 7.
Okay.
That would surprise me a little bit, but we'll see. All right, that's all we got for y'all today. Hope y'all enjoyed the episode. Leave us a like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the other videos on our channel, and we will talk to y'all later.